So I have the bow here at full draw. If you don't have some sort of draw board, which I have, obviously have kind of Aggie engineered here to my bench. If you don't have some sort of draw board, you can just do this by yourself. Just take your bow, knock an arrow onto it, pull it back, and either try to peek around the cams to look at the cable stops or the limb stops, if that's what your bow has, or better yet, get somebody who can look at them for you. That's a lot better. So. Every bow tunes a little bit differently. This isn't like a how-to tune this particular kind of bow. The Diamond, this Infinite Edge here, is a dual cam system, which is not the easiest to tune. It's definitely not my favorite by a long shot, but it's what I have here now as my backup bow. So I'm going to try to get it as close as I possibly can. If you have to settle, you can't get both stops to hit exactly at the same time. If you have to settle for something, I would settle with the top draw stop hitting slightly before the bottom if you're running a dual cam, hybrid cam, binary cam system. Personally, that's what I would do. I would have that top stop hitting a little bit shorter. If you can't get it perfect, have that top stop hit sooner. If you're using a single cam, obviously you are just tuning for your liking with the valley and how the back wall sits for you. So right now, the bottom cam is hitting significantly sooner than the top cam, so I'm going to adjust the twists in the cables and try to get it so they're both hitting at the same time. Alright, so I adjusted the cables and I now have it pretty darn close. I'd say it's definitely probably within a 64th of an inch, which is nothing really to worry about. They're not exactly perfect, but I do have the top cam. The way it's going to work out, the top cam is just going to be that slightly a little bit more advanced than the bottom cam. I'm fine with that. Dual cams are notoriously difficult to deal with compared to single cams, hybrid cams, and binary cams. So now we are ready to bolt on the rest of the accessories, get the center shots set, get the height of the rest set so the arrow's going right through the burger buttonhole, and we can then pretty much start tuning the bow for paper tuning. So let's go ahead and get that started. Okay, so the first accessory I get on, I have the stabilizer over here. Second one I get on is the rest. So I have it just eyeball level on here. I just kind of have the bow here. I'm leveling it up with this piece, this hole right here in the riser. And I'm just kind of having it centered around the burger buttonhole. You can have the rest shifted this way or that way depending on what your bow is. That's all up to you. For me, I just kind of slap it on there and eyeball it and then kind of fine tune from there. To find center shot, most bows are, you go from the deepest part of the riser, shelf over here off the burger buttonhole, and you go 13/16 towards the, away from the bow. So what all I'm doing here is I just take the bow square I used earlier, I just put it right smack in the burger buttonhole, kind of eyeball level it as best I can so it's not tilted down or up too much. Kind of see where I need to be. So if I go 13/16 that way, or just find 3/4 and add 1, it looks like I need to move over just a fuzz. So we'll go and grab the Allen keys, or the Allen wrenches. Depends on how arrogant you want to be with the terminology here. Most rests are marked with 1/16 of an inches, depending on how far down it gets. Sometimes they're even labeled down to 30 seconds. I need to move this over 3, so I'll loosen that up there and I'll give it a few taps. Check with my level again, or my square rather. Put it right in the burger buttonhole. Kind of get as level as I can. That looks like it's going to be pretty darn close to 13/16. Right now the center of that arrow looks like it's somewhere between 3/4 and 13/16, which is right where I want it. Now, I'm going to be fine tuning this. I just want to get a ballpark. Now, I'll mention a few things when it comes to this center shot. A lot of people take center shot as they go from a limb bolt to the other limb bolt, and they'll do a string or rubber band or something, and they'll cut an arrow short, and then they'll go with that. But I can tell you for one thing, my Hoyt, the cam is actually not directly in the center of the limb, right over the center of the limb bolt. It's actually offset a good 1/4 of an inch. So really, take a tape measure. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of figure out where it should be roughly, because when we go to paper tune, we'll be able to fine tune it from there. Don't go off the center of your limb bolts. Don't go off your stabilizer. Go off the way it's supposed to be, which is going off the side of the riser, going away from the bow, 13/16. Just a good idea to start there and actually use the tool that's supposed to be designed, which is a tape measure or something marked like a bow square. Alright, so now that I've found roughly my center shot, or at least a very good starting point, the next part now is figuring nock high, nock low. I can see right now, and you might be able to see on your side of the camera, it looks like probably not. I can tell you right now that the arrow rest is way too high. It's actually made this beyond a 90-degree angle. It's almost like a 95-degree angle. So I need to loosen this this bolt over here, lower the rest, and try to get it running directly through the center of the burger button hole. Alright, so now using the Allen keys or Allen wrenches, I have moved moved the rest down. Hopefully now we can bolt on the rest of the accessories, we can grab a release and a few more arrows, and we can go start tuning. Before I put this on, in particular since it's a backup bow, it's not going to see much use. I'm going to take bowstring wax, and I'm just going to run just once, just right it this way. I'm just going to run a little bit of bowstring wax right on both of the bolts. And what it's going to do is, over time, these bolts are going to seize into this riser. Take them out in cold weather, bring them in. Just over time, they're going to seize. That wax will A, keep moisture out of there so they don't rust, but B, it'll also keep it from seizing when you want to take it off later. I forgot to mention it earlier, but I also did that with the rest bolt as well. Don't think that it's going to, lubricate, it's going to back itself out and become everything loose. I've never had that happen. On the contrary, it actually acts like a wax Loctite, like you'd put on a nutter bolt on like a car or something like that. It really keeps it in there, so I'm going to add that to these, screw this side in, and we'll almost be ready to shoot. The final thing I'll check for before I take this bow out and paper tune it is I will look for tiller adjustment. I've got this bow set pretty much where I want it, around 50, 52 pounds, somewhere in that flavor. That scale is not perfect, so it's going to be somewhere around 50, 52 pounds. But when you do that, you change the tiller, which is how far the string is from the riser. So I take my bow square, and I tuck it against the limb here where it meets the riser, because that's the same on both sides. And I check it to the string. Okay, get that measurement there. Just try to have it as perpendicular as you can to the string. Gets you the most accurate measurement. Check it there. Come down this end. And we appear to be even. So that's very good. Now, because sometimes if your cam is off by just a fraction of it, just the tiniest amount, sometimes you can adjust that by loosening or tightening up the limb. That'll adjust the tiller, and that'll bring that cam in sync. Like, for example, if it's just so close but it's not perfect, that taking a twist in or taking a twist out or half twist of the cable won't do it. It'll actually take it too far in the opposite direction. Sometimes just checking that tiller will actually resolve that problem for you. We seem to be good here, so we're ready to get some arrows ready for it, strap release on, and go paper tune. So there are already tons and tons of great tuning resources already on YouTube. How to paper tune, how to French tune, how to walk back tune. You can take your pick. I personally paper tune, get my arrows flying like darts with perfect bullet holes through paper, and then I do a little bit of walk back tuning, but considering that I'm a hunter first and a competitive shooter second, all of my bows are pretty much tuned to 40 yards, and that's about it. Sure, I might practice at 50, 60, 70, 80, but that's a very rare occasion, and if I am, I'm mostly doing it as a first cold shot to kind of see how my form is for the day. So I don't spend too much time walk back tuning or French tuning. I just get my bow perfect 0 to 40 and take it in the woods and go hunting. So if you have any further questions about anything you saw in any of the tuning videos, please feel free to hit me up on Facebook or leave a comment here on YouTube. I get to everybody as quickly as I can. All of the products that were used in all the videos and everything else that I've mentioned or detailed is all in the description below. Some of them have links, some of them don't. So I hope you're able to learn something from that. Hopefully now you can go out and attempt to basically make your own bow from scratch, if you will. Get it all set up and tune it the way that it really should be tuned, and it'll make paper tuning and everything else and shooting it a lot more enjoyable. Definitely make it significantly more accurate, definitely make it quieter if it's in sync, and a lot more efficient. So I hope you're able to get out and enjoy God's beautiful creation, enjoy the sport of archery and archery hunting if you so choose, and we'll get to see you next time.